the App Store and download ATN Live, which is our app, and you can watch us anytime, anywhere, and on the go. Also, if you, apart from the ATN Live, the app, you can also watch us live from our website, AtlanticTelevisionNetwork.tv. That's what place you can watch us. Better still, you can just go to Facebook or YouTube and just log on to Atlantic Television Network, and that's where we are. We are live right now from all of these platforms, and of course, StarTimes 9194 DTH. But now, let's get back to the segments of the show.
All right, so on our anchors chat this morning, we have Federal Capital Territory Administration has closed down 2 private schools for operating below minimum standard in the FCT. The affected schools are Erudite Bright Kids at Kagini and James Angela School in Abuja Municipal Area Council. The schools were closed during an operation to close all substandard schools operating in the FCT. The Mandate Secretary, Education Secretariat, FCTA, Dan Lami Hayo, who led the team, Abuja, explained that the measure was to ensure quality of teaching and learning in FCT schools. Hayo said that the move was in line with the mandate of the Department of Quality Assurance, charged with the core responsibility of proper accreditation of schools, monitoring and inspection. This of him to ensure quality educational services, compliance to the requirements for the establishment of schools, and enforcement of minimum standards as stipulated in the operational guidelines for schools. He called on the National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools to enlighten their members on minimum standards and the need to key into FCT administration educational policies. Hayo also called for robust partnership of the private sector in the delivery of quality educational services to the teeming residents of the FCT. On her part, the Director, Department of Quality Assurance, Dr. Favor Mr. Edem, explained that the sealed schools failed to satisfy the conditions of establishment of regular schools. Oh, wow. Well, do we say this is a nice one on in terms of keeping up to the regulations that are required of schools? Because there should be rules. You don't just start off things without being guided. And so when you veer off the rules, you have to be reprimanded or such stringent actions taken against you. So, I mean, it's right on track. It's right on track.
I just want to refer this back to the FCT minister when he came on board and he said the FCT is going to be returned to the original plan, what
Absolutely.
FCT is meant to be. And I honestly think that every move being made, I like to see it from the angle that there is a new sheriff in town, one who has his name written in gold, say. So he's not taking any chances. So basically, everyone, I'm sure this school has been in operation for quite some time. And so it's not as if they just came into this train. So, but for some reason, when one at the helm of affairs is serious-minded and wants to get things done, everyone under just naturally sits up. I guess that's what we are seeing. So I just want to give, I don't know, I may be biased here, but
biased in what sense?
Maybe because he was a former governor in Rivers State, maybe because we are in Rivers State, I don't know. But I just want to give kudos to the FCT minister. That's just what I want to say, because what he's doing there is not politics, it's governance. And now, like I said, these schools didn't just come up yesterday, they have been in existence. So everywhere, when the head is right, basically, the bottom, everything just sits up. Every other part just sits up. So I just want to give kudos to him, and I hope this becomes an example that everyone will look out to say, hey, this is how things have, like, you just need to sit up. You don't need anyone to tell you, because he knows that when he catches you or snoozing, for instance, that's it. Yeah, that's it. Because a lot of people, the truth is that a lot of people will feel like, oh, he cannot, because he was a governor of Rivers State and was able to do, but it's not actually true.
Okay. The
FCT minister, while he was the minister for State for Education under Goodluck Jonathan, most of those Almajiri schools, unfortunately, they will lack a proper maintenance culture, lack of continuity, actual sense when it comes to governance. Otherwise, he did so much when it comes to Almajiri schools. And he's someone that puts his energy into whatever he's doing. So now that he's there, let all the excesses begin to show up and let people begin to sit up to know that if anything goes wrong or the minister finds out you're fired.
But before
that becomes a way to make everyone understand that the man at the top is not joking. So if you want to keep your job, you want to keep your your school, you want to keep your business running, you've got to fall in line with the rules.
Okay, but then, don't you think there should have been some kind of awareness before taking that action?
I advocate for awareness in this particular matter. See, we are people who know that before you set up a business in this country, there are rules. Don't say because nobody is checking the rules. That's because the man or the woman at the helm of affair at that point doesn't really care about checking the rules.
Okay.
So the man who, like I said, there's a new sheriff in town who is interested in following the rules. So if you don't follow the rules, and he made this announcement when he came into power, every aspect of the FCT must represent the FCT for what the FCT is designed to be. So if you look at it to say, okay, there were rules for setting up schools. There were rules that they know that, I mean, these people just come up and then they use their sitting room, for instance, and they set up schools. You could do extramural classes. We don't call it a school where people wear uniform. And see, growing up in this country, we had classy extramural classes that were better than most schools. Now, because if you don't have the full, the money or what it takes in terms of structures to set up a school, to get registered and do due diligence when it comes to setting up schools, then you can set up an extramural classes as a business. You see, those days when we were writing JAM, there were big, massive centers. Extramural classes for WAEC, for GCE, for JAM, and what have you. And people were trooping in. It was a big deal. We will leave these schools then, even for those who were in boarding house, who will come back during the holiday, who want to join those classes.
That's correct.
Because these are people who may not be in position to set up proper school, but because they have something to offer, they find a way to get through the state government processes and get themselves registered as a business and set up the extramural classes.
Okay.
And again, I just want to quickly say that while we're talking about this, the idea of homeschooling is a conversation that we all must begin to have, especially with the economic downturn. There are parents who are out there who feel like, okay, my child must go to school, and you're putting them in quasi schools, schools that you know that are substandard. Meanwhile, you can actually, some of these people can actually come together, set up homeschooling process, and find a way to ensure that this school, because at the end of the day, if you look at it properly, there are better teachers out there, but because they don't have the certifications to or qualified in terms of teaching and all that. Have you gone to some churches and see how some of their Sunday school teachers, how diligent some of these people are, how conscious they are to ensure that they interpret what needs to be done, and then you wonder how good such people will do when it comes to teaching. So homeschooling shouldn't be totally rude. I also think that the government has to find a way to begin to open up some of these things. That sometimes you can't afford to pay those school fees. That's the truth. And that doesn't limit you in any way. That doesn't make you less of a person. It just says that what is now the alternative? Is it going to be possible for me to register my child to get into primary 6 to write text? And you figure that out. So I think that instead of setting up these substandard schools, you can set up extramural classes. Make it so standard that even those in big schools will be envious because they want to set up their children there. These things are done abroad. There are several celebrities who studied, who were homeschooled. There are several of them. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's
or shameful. Nothing.
No, there's nothing shameful. It's just what we do as a people because everybody is doing it. We're doing it. There are some children that are better off tutored at home.
Yeah, that's correct.
The truth.
Yes.
Because there are some of them who don't fit into the normal classroom kind of setting. So I honestly think there's so much we can do as a people to ensure you don't drive yourself crazy or mad, if you may, in trying to see that you pull things together. Anyway, run out of time for Anchor's chat. And of course, Barrister Ayatamina Young is seated in the studio already. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll bring you all the juicy stories we have for you on ATN Blowout today. Stay with us. And we hope you're ready to blow out, to come back to you after the break.
back to ATN Blowout. We have our guest this morning, and we have to introduce him before we dive into the whole of the conversations we have this morning. We have Dr. Barrister Young with us this morning. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Good morning.
Good to have you here.
Yeah, I'm here.
How is Nigeria treating you, sir?
Oh, well, everybody is facing one challenge or the other, but the good news is that we're also triumphing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yes.
All right, let's move straight to the first conversation. We have, after the anchors chat, pensioners in Rivers State have lamented the huge backlog of pensions and gratuities owed them by the state government, which spans between the administration of former Governor Peter Odili and that of immediate past Governor Nyesom Wike. The backlog, which is over 119 billion naira, is a rollover sum from past administrations, which has not been freed by any successive government since 2003 till date, leading to serious problems among pensioners in the state. Speaking to Newsman Port Harcourt, chairman of the Nigerian Union of Pensioners, Rivers State Chapter, Comrade Collins Ihanyi Nwankwo said, no government has ever taken a deliberate step to free this backlog over the years. According to Ihanyi Nwankwo, the more than 190 billion naira owed over 30,000 pensioners exclude local government retirees in the state, and several increases such as 6% in 2003, 15% in 2007, and 33% in 2010 have also not been paid. The state NUP chairman said the 119 billion naira backlog has three components of gratuities, pensions, and death benefits, regretting that so many pensioners in the state have died because they couldn't afford medications and other necessities. Ihanyi Nwankwo, however, called on the state governor, Tinilai Fubara, to consider the plight of pensioners in the state by looking at how he could drastically reduce the huge backlog owed them in the state. All right, so this morning we're talking about something that is very sensitive to every citizen of this country who has really served the country in the capacity of their work in the service to the country. And of course, we're talking about the pension. We're talking about the backlog. We're talking about the backlog. So this has always been, the trend. From time to time, we see pensioners crying out loud, making protests and all that. And here we have backlog since 2003. How do we explain, the reason why government allowed this kind of pileup?
First, let me talk from the background that I'm also a public servant.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, for every public servant, that is at the end of your career, that is what you're looking up to. In fact, that is the glory, the crown of your service to the nation after 35 years of service. Some might be up to 35. Of course, we have two flanks to it. Either you are 35 years of service or you have attained 60 years of age. So that is the qualification that that is what qualifies you to go into pension. And of course, the pension laws are there, 2004. The PENCOM Act 2004 is also there. So it's actually a sad commentary. What you're seeing in Rivers State is also there in so many other states. And why I said this is a sad commentary, that as much as 119 billion, excluding that of the local government pensioners, excluding that we are having that huge debt, when you counterbalance it, you juxtapose it with the fact that the political office holders are also enjoying huge pension. For those that have served 4 years, maximum of 8 years, they are having huge pensions, and even some of them that have also progressed from being either governors, local government chairmen, they call it severance. Outside severance packages, they still collect severance at the point when they are exiting. So they are collecting double pension. But for the civil servants, the public servants, the civil servants at the state level here, if you look at the story, it was categorized into three. They said the gratuity is not paid, the pension is also affected, and then the death benefits. In fact, the sad part of it is that many have died from lack of medication, which is supposed to be, if they are sick at the end of service and they are receiving their pension, the expectation is that they should be able to use part of their gratuity, part of their pensions, to get appropriate medical treatment. But since it is lacking, like the report has it, so many of the places just answering the figures is something that requires a proper mix between the pensions association, the associations, pension association, and then the state government. At some point, under Governor Rotimi Amechi, we got to the point where they wanted to embrace the contributory pension fund, and I think IBTC also, as at that time, was supposed to be the host of that policy and making it work in terms of execution. But at some point too, there was also this agitation that the contributory pension scheme, is not as positive as it ought to be. So they went back to the same old pension scheme.
All right,
old pension scheme.
Let me hear, Barrister Young.
Yeah.
What we are talking about, sometimes we talk about pension. Some people assume that it's money that government is giving to this is different from gratuity.
Yes.
So a lot of time people assume that it's free money that government is giving to civil servants. But clearly that is not what it is, because we learned that these are like part of your salary, something taken off while you were in service, isn't it?
That's what it is.
Because you're in service right now, so something is being taken off your
income.
Your income.
And then kept for you.
Something is being taken off. So pension is actually the money these people want for their savings.
Yes.
Good. Now, you're also a lawyer, so it's good that you're here. What law?
It's no law like that.
All right.
As a matter of fact, we have the structures. We have the State Pension Board. We also had the local government. I don't know whether it is still there. We also had the local government pension board as long as I could remember.
All right.
And I know that the local government pensions board, up until some 10 years back, they were very, very diligent. 3 to 6 months, your pension and your gratuity. In fact, you start earning your pension, your gratuity was waiting for you.
Okay.
What happened after then is, because to the extent that we know, internally generated revenue has never fallen. Internally generated revenue has never fallen, and we have always received.
No,
yes.
I'm taking time to draw this inference. So there is no law that mandates any sitting governor to tamper with the earnings held for civil servants who rightfully, we're not talking about gratuity, just talking about their own savings, that the accountant general retrieve that is meant to be covered, so that when you retire and you want your money, that there are no laws. We know that they used to say when the law says because a governor has immunity, so you cannot sue him and all of that. Because you just say this is not just about Rivers State, and of course we're in the news, we read these things, we see these things, and every year, almost every moment, these conversations keep coming to the news. What is stopping these retired civil servants from taking a class action across Nigeria, for instance, demanding for their rights to be respected, for governors to stop tampering with the money, or suing these governors? We're talking about Dr. Odili, Peter Odili, we're talking about Honorable Rotimi Amechi, Honorable Yusuf Wike. They're not in government, they don't have immunity right now. So what is stopping those who are surviving from standing up and fighting and making a demand for the state or using the court to ensure that their rights are respected?
Well, your guess is as good as mine, because ordinarily one will think that these persons should actually appreciate the rights that they have, and seek interpretation in courts, and possibly get judgments, and also find a means of enforcing this judgment, making sure that these judgments are enforced. if you sleep over your rights, then you are in for it. So, like, the truth is that there's no law stopping these people from having their legitimate earning, because this is money, like, you properly analyzed. You receive an allocation, you pay salaries. Out of it, you say this is what is meant for this category. It's normally in percentages. At the federal level, that matter has still been solved. This matter was almost solved under the government of His Excellency Chibike Rotimi Amechi. But there was a backtrack to the old pension system. So when government acts under pressure from beneficiaries who are in the system and who do not, looking at what the people in the federal are currently suffering, feeling that the people at the federal, they are shortchanged and they wouldn't want to migrate into the contributory pension scheme, then it becomes a problem. At the federal, it is a different thing, it's a different ballgame altogether.
All right, we'll take a short break, everyone. When we come back, we'll have more stories coming your way. But you stay with us. We'll be back to you now.